Okay, so if I remember correctly, last week we gave you homework for the podcast, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so the Countdown podcast said that our last movie had some of the worst acting, right?
Specifically Dick Best. It was whoever played Dick Best. I can't remember.
Good, but for Midway. So you disagreed and you said you were going to give 10 worst performances.
Yeah, because it's not even close. It's... Alright, so number 10, basically the entire cast for the Last Airbender was a terribly acted movie. Across the board. Then number 9 is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Take your pick. Mr. Freeze is the one I came up with.
I mean, anything. I mean, you know, he's a great guy.
He's a great actor in other things. Like, he was great in Terminator, but...
Was he great?
Oh, yeah. Totally awesome.
Okay. All right. You know.
So, there's that. Hayden Christensen, Star Wars. Sand is coarse and gets everywhere. Stop being a whiny little bitch.
I think he was there for his attractive factor.
Oh, that's 100% why.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why the entire Twilight movie was cast. So...
Rude.
They didn't make the list, but because I've never seen them, but they're on there. So,
I've seen the movie and read the books.
Honorable mentions. 7, Kenneth Branagh, Wild Wild West.
Never seen it.
Will Smith.
No.
Movie from my teenage years.
Dating yourself?
A little bit. 6, Halle Berry, Catwoman.
You didn't like her, huh?
Oh, it's a terrible movie.
I genuinely don't remember it. I just remember people hating her.
Oh, it's so bad. I think she won the Razzie for that, for worst performance.
You should have just looked up the Razzies. This would have been much easier to do.
Probably. Rob Schneider, The Animal. Although Rob Schneider, most of his performances are really bad.
I think he purposely does bad.
That's the fine line between comedy and just terrible.
Yeah.
So, like, Adam Sandler falls in that same trap a lot of times. Like, there's a couple movies of his that it's just... No.
Yeah, it's just... I know you're going for the so bad it's funny, but nah, it's not funny.
Exactly. 4, Nick Cage, Wicker Man, or Everything, basically.
Poor Nick Cage. He's actually a good actor.
He's quite good in certain things, and he's generated so many memes. But, I mean, some of his performances, the bees.
He does too many roles. Yeah. He needs to be a little bit more selective.
In his defense, I don't think he can be selective. I think he's in some kind of financial circumstances with the IRS.
Oh, poor Nick Cage.
3, we're getting to the top 3, is Kurt Russell, Big Trouble, and Fight Me. Everyone is wrong.
He's never going to let this go. This will be a running theme on our podcast. So,
and then number 2, second place, Pauly Shore, Biodome.
I have not seen it, but Pauly Shore is just one of those, I'm not a fan.
Oh, so it was painful. And then lastly, has to be Tommy Wiseau, The Room.
See, I have never seen it. I've only seen maybe one clip of this.
I've seen clips of it. I have never been able to actually sit down and watch this train wreck of a movie.
This sounds like a challenge I'm ready to take on.
Darling, you don't know what you're saying. That is just... It is so incredibly bad.
So this is the line of what you won't do for your art?
Yeah, no. I'm not willing to suffer that much.
Okay, anyways, so hopefully this list proves to you that Dick Best wasn't the worst acting performance. But anyways, I'm Shay.
I'm Tyler.
This is Cinematically Correct. And this week was my choice. We did the current movie and very limited options. So we ended up with the Netflix movie, The Wrong Missy.
Yeah. So happy.
Yeah. So before we get into what you felt, even though that gave it away, you want to tell them about your beer?
So I picked up Big Wave Golden Ale. It's a Hawaiian brewery, and it was filmed in Hawaii. And
what was the other reason you picked it up?
Well, she gets demolished by a wave after falling off a cliff.
That she should have done.
Oh, she definitely should have done that.
Yeah.
It should have been a much shorter movie. I want to say that almost all of Adam Sandler's movies these days are filmed in Hawaii. I think it's just an excuse to expense off a vacation.
I mean, if you can.
I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but all of the movies, 50 First Dates, this one, all of them.
I mean, if you're able to do that and get away with it, kudos to you.
So I'm actually hopeful for this because it's a golden ale and that's not going to murder my face.
I'm very happy for you.
That's actually really nice.
Yeah? Well, good, because you have multiple of them.
Yeah, I do. That's nice and crisp and refreshing, actually. So
it's good. Nice way to end the day.
3.75.
It doesn't get a 4?
I'll go 4.
Thank you.
I
feel better. Okay, so brief synopsis?
Brief synopsis.
Shouldn't be hard. There's not much to talk about.
David Spade meets this horrible woman, has a date where he escapes out of the bathroom, then meets a nicer woman that he actually clicks with, and then mistakenly texts the wrong person, hence the Wrong Missy, and then goes on a corporate vacation to Hawaii with the wrong woman, winds up falling for her. Spoilers.
Yeah, basically.
That's it. That's the movie.
Yeah, basically. Okay, so we do need to get into IMDb characters, but since you brought up the title, I wanted to just quickly go into that. So it's called The Wrong Missy. So you're led to believe that one of or two of the women are named Missy. They are not. They're both named Melissa, and the name in his phone is Melissa. And I think it's supposed to be a play on, like, the wrong miss. And then Missy is sometimes a nickname for Melissa. But, like, why couldn't they just make their nicknames Missy so that it made sense? Like, I'm just curious why.
I don't know. Just because they didn't have anything better to, like, they didn't think of it. Like, how is that not the first thing you think of? Okay, it's The Wrong Missy. It's the title of the movie. Both women are going to be named Missy.
Right, exactly. So it just bothered me, like, in a way that I can't even explain.
Okay. Got that off your chest? You happy?
I feel better. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I don't really have a lot of cast that I want to go through, but I mean, David Spade is the main character, so he plays kind of like a businessman type guy who's
vice president of sales for a bank.
I thought it was a credit card company, but
well, they talked about asset-backed securities later in the movie, so I'm thinking an investment bank.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that's your realm and not mine. Yep. Okay, got it. Well, anyway, so he plays like a more straight-laced business-type man who just recently got out of an engagement.
Yep.
And is looking to get back into the dating world and basically does a lot of blunders that we all do in the online dating world.
Yeah, but that woman, no.
No?
I'm already out the bathroom window.
Yeah, so that woman is Lauren Lapkus.
Yeah. On
her IMDb, it says she plays Missy. She plays Melissa.
I guess it's her nickname.
When do they call her Missy?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Tell me.
I don't remember it.
Somebody give me a clip.
Although, to be perfectly fair, for the accuracy of this podcast, I was half paying attention to this movie.
Weren't we all?
Maybe a quarter paying attention.
Right. So Lauren Lapkus plays a over-the-top, really unlikable character. Like, there's no redeeming qualities of her. And that is entirely the point. And Lauren Lapkus kills that.
I mean, she did her job. Like, that's what she was asked to do. But, God, so many times I rooted for her to actually just be a sad movie. Halfway when she falls off the cliff and just like...
Yeah. So this is... I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but this is not my type of comedy. I do not like slapstick. I don't like things that are just crude and just... To me, that's not funny. Like, there's no intelligence behind this. It's just crude and obnoxiousness to be funny, and
it's
I don't...
comedy out of the absurd. So it's just so over the top and out there that it's funny, but it's not.
Yeah, that I don't find that amusing. Yeah. So it was hard for me to watch. I do appreciate her as an actress. It just wasn't an appealing role to me, and I kept hoping that there was going to be some kind of character arc where, like, she realized that she was doing this because she was lonely and scared, and that's really not how she was. And
way at the end of the movie,
but there was no explanation for that. It just kind of happened, and I was like, okay, but you're still crazy, right? So you just like decided to be calm for a few minutes? Like, no. Anyway. So the rest of the characters are really ancillary. So, I mean, is there anybody you want to mention?
Well, just that all of the people in this movie are the same people that are in every Adam Sandler movie ever. There's Rob Schneider. David Spade is in a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. His wife.
Jackie
Sandler.
His nephew was in this movie.
Yep. Chris Farley's brother was in this movie.
Chris Farley's brother's in this movie. There's one other person that was in this movie. I don't remember.
Well, there was one other person that I noticed in this movie that I don't think is necessarily in all Adam Sandler movies, but I think his name is George Garcia or Jorge. I don't know how you say it. But he played Hurley on Lost, and this guy was on the plane and lost, plane. Yeah. So just thought that was funny. I don't know if there was anybody
Jonathan Loughran.
Okay.
He's the cross-eyed guy that's in every Adam Sandler movie ever.
Okay, so Adam Sandler movies is known for this. He has consistent cast turnover.
I think he's also doing a solid for his friends because he can. Like there's a lot that is good about that, where you look out for the people that are important.
Good for him that he can do that. Since I have to have a Gilmore Girls reference, because I mean, y'all just got to a point where like if I don't, I feel like I've failed or something. Yeah. So anyway, Jackie Sandler is Adam Sandler's wife. And she was on the movie Duplex. That was Drew Barrymore and...
Right, Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller, thank you. And Linda Porter was in that movie, who played Fran on Gilmore Girls. And Fran on Gilmore Girls was the old lady who Lorelai got the in from.
Right. Sad note, Ben Stiller's father just recently passed away, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's awful. Thank you for bringing down the pod.
Sorry, Seinfeld, Arthur Stiller, fantastic man.
You're right. I do remember that now.
My reference to Lord of the Rings.
Oh boy, I was hoping we got away with it.
Rob Schneider was in 50 First Dates with Sean Astin, who played the title character in Lord of the Rings. So
I feel like we've used Sean Astin quite a few times. Actually.
He's in a lot of movies. I mean,
I mean, he seems to be your go-to.
Well, there's Sean Astin and the Sean Bean, so there's two Seans.
Yeah, but it's Sean Astin. I feel like I've heard a lot. So
okay,
is he your default?
He is. I mean, he's not really the title. He's one of the title 7 in the Fellowship. He's Samwise Gamgee. So yeah.
So anyway,
threw it in there.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. Moving on.
All right. So I mean, the first thing we had on here was Lauren Lapkus' character, but I think we kind of went through that. So
God, so
I
painful.
think we've established that we really it's just not our thing. I mean, have you ever had a crazy girlfriend, ex-girlfriend date, anything like that? Like to that extreme.
There's no way that they're to that extreme. No, that's not
okay. In any ballpark, then
I've had girls that were kind of creepy, obsessed, and clingy. Sure, but it's not.
You've had clingy.
Oh my... Great. No, but it's not anything even in that same ballpark.
You wouldn't even deal with that.
No, because you're like, oh, that's the rule 1. Don't stick it in crazy.
Yeah, but don't you remember I think it was How I Met Your Mother, where they had the crazy hot chart, and it was like...
Oh, the Vicky Mendoza diagonal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean... There's no amount of hotness that accounts for that crazy. It's just, that's not possible.
So if the characters of Lauren Lapkus and Molly Sims were switched...
No, it doesn't matter.
It wouldn't matter? It should still bother you just as much?
There is not a single woman that is attractive enough to pull that off. There just is not.
You know you're testing your audience, right? You know that they're going to come at you, and they're going to give you people who they believe are...
Send me beautiful actresses and famous women. Fine. Oh, God.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, I mean, don't threaten you with a good time, eh?
I mean, it's just that... No, it's crazy. She has a Bowie knife in her purse.
She does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Okay, well, David Spade's character, right? So there was a lot of criticism for him out there about the fact that he always plays what they called a straight male. He was never funny. He was just sarcastic in everything he does, apparently. Now, I only know him from some things. I remember, like, bench warmers and things like that. But the thing I remember most
Tommy Boy, Black Sheep are the two that come to my mind with Chris Farley.
See, I don't think I watched a lot of Chris Farley movies. And I mean, rest in peace, and I'm not saying anything negative, but that wasn't my type of humor. I remember David Spade from Just Shoot Me, which I don't know why I was so drawn to that show. I don't know if it was a journalism aspect. I don't know, but I loved that show. It was so funny to me. It was just, I don't know.
I mean, it had a good rapport with the cast, and it was a fine show, but he was kind of more of the creepy guy in that show than this one. He's just a normal guy in this one.
Yeah, he's just...
normal straight-laced business guy in this movie. Like, it's not even...
But apparently he didn't add anything to the film, is what people were saying. He was just boring, not funny at all. I thought the point was supposed to be that he was so straight-laced and she was so crazy, and that was like the dichotomy they were going for.
Probably that was their intent, because he doesn't drink, he doesn't do anything outside of the rules.
Does that make you boring?
Oh God, here we go.
No, I'm wondering. Like, if you don't drink and you don't do anything outside the rules, does that make you boring? Like, are you not funny? No, I just wanted to know. I was just curious. Like, I don't know anybody like that. I just wanted to know.
All right, let's move on to a different conversation, please.
Well, I mean, since we're on the conversation, I mean, so a big part of this movie, or a multiple repetitive theme of this movie, was the fact that people that don't drink are talked about as, like, having a problem, right? Like, it was this big thing.
There's just the assumption that you're a recovering alcoholic if you choose to not drink.
Right, and I'm curious, like, first of all, I'm curious if a lot of people actually feel that way. Like, if you run across somebody who doesn't drink, like, do you automatically assume that they must have a problem? Does it register as anything at all? Like, I mean, like, I'm curious because, so I'm somebody who doesn't drink.
Yeah.
And I've never had a problem. I did drink at one point in my life. I don't anymore. But it's not like... I don't feel like it changes anything. I don't care if people drink around me. Like, it's not, I don't know. So I'm just curious, like, why that's such a thing, and like why it's such a thing that Hollywood is making a joke of it.
I think it's probably just, it's something that everyone that doesn't drink runs into. I mean, it has to be the bonding commonality between everybody, because it's a weird thing.
Well, so, like, people are so insecure that they believe that, like, you can't have fun if you don't drink? Is that, like, what this is, or...?
I think that's basically what it boils down to, yeah.
Oh, I'm very sorry for all the people who feel that way. It's really sad.
There are videos out there because of the quarantine with people throwing out cases of wine bottles and beer cans, and, like, people are drinking like insane people right now.
Yeah, I'm all set with that, actually. Like, I'm actually glad we don't do that. But anyway, I was just curious. Okay, so in every movie, if there's something that I find a little bit problematic, I feel the need to at least say something about it. Since we have a platform to do that, we shouldn't, like, just ignore.
Yeah.
So there's, I mean, I don't want to say the R word here, but there is unsolicited sex scenes.
Oh, it's definitely rape. It definitely falls into the definition of sexual assault and rape, because he's unconscious and she assaults him more than once. Yeah.
So if you guys haven't seen the movie, and I don't think anybody's going to care about spoilers in this movie because it's a very boilerplate, like,
it's a stupid
Adam Sandler movie is really what it is. But anyway, there's 2 points in this movie where this happens. So the first time it happens is on the plane. He is given is it dog or horse tranquilizer?
Dog tranquilizer.
Dog tranquilizer, and he's unconscious, and she decides to start jacking him off. And I think the movie tries to talk this away by saying that he was initiating it in his sleep by sleep talking. But, like, if that was a female, nobody would have let that go.
Well, he was drugged again with he chose to take the dog tranquilizer because she was passed out drunk, and he wakes up to her having sex with him.
Yes.
In no world is that okay.
That is not okay, no.
And if the roles were reversed, the genders were reversed, that's not a comedy anymore. This is a dark movie.
Well, I don't think it's a comedy to begin with. Like, that makes me uncomfortable that we think that we can get away with joking about that.
Well, I think it's the double standard because, haha, all guys want sex.
But no. It's not
okay.
First of all, even if they were in a relationship, that is not okay. If somebody is unconscious, you don't do that. So I want to put that out there into the world. It doesn't matter.
I don't think that should surprise anyone.
No, you can be married for 50 years. If your person is unconscious, especially from a tranquilizer drug or any other reason.
With the only exception being you've had a previous conversation with it and they've already said that it's fine. But that is...
I mean, even then, unless they said it...
It's still...
Unless I took a pill and I said, I really want you to do this to me while I'm unconscious while I'm taking the pill.
Still not...
Still, I hope you really struggle with that idea. I'm disappointed that Netflix allowed that, and I'm also disappointed that Happy Madison Productions allowed that, and that none of the cast decided to call that out. Now, I do realize that this is a callback to a lot of the early 90 films where this kind of thing was kind of common. Yep. I mean, this kind of humor was funny, and I'm sure some people still find it funny. Yeah. But we do have a Me Too movement right now, and I don't know, like, it's a little tone deaf.
Well, you can be funny without that. Like, there's other ways to be funny.
Yeah, it being obnoxiously over the top to be funny is just not funny. I mean, it makes me think of, like, Ron White, which is my least favorite comedian in the entire world. Like, saying things that are just disgusting to be funny is not funny. It's disgusting. So, yeah. I think this part of the movie turned it from, maybe I can think of it as like a, stupid, cheesy comedy to oh God, I hate this movie.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's entirely fair.
Yeah. So, I mean, other than that, there is not much substance to this film. So,
well, no, it's just a boilerplate put together movie so the actors can collect paychecks and it's thrown out there.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of, like, interesting things. I mean, so I did want to mention that at one point they do turn to hypnotism for this movie, which was a really strange thing. So this girl, like, kept saying she had all these jobs, like she was an EMT, she was a chiropractor, she was a therapist, and at one point she decided she was a hypnotist. I think it was...
marriage counselor and...
Yeah, and she said she took classes because she was bored or something. I don't really know. I don't really get it. But she hypnotizes the boss, and that ends up being how she wins David Spade, because he is able to get a promotion through. It was very confusing to me. Now, would you love someone more that you hated because they got you a promotion by hypnotizing your boss?
No. Her in this movie, there's no way that she could get back into my good graces. I would have nothing to do with her. I'd have booked my own separate hotel room off the first. Oh, it's no, nope,
no.
nope.
No, I don't blame you. I was curious because it's
Just
I kept hoping that there was going to be some type of, like, either he broke it off with her and he got up with Molly Sims and that was the happy ending, or that it was like something, an arc of hers where she's actually a really cool person and something bad happened and she was scared and, she was doing this to push him away because she didn't actually want to be with him and then decided she liked him, whatever. Like something other than I'm a psychopath, but I calmed it down because that's what you need to do to make the movie work.
well, yeah. It's plot expediting just to end the movie and end everyone's suffering.
Yeah.
Just get this movie over for the love of God. I never want to watch it again.
Yeah, it felt like a 3-hour movie. It really did. I don't even think it was that long, but it felt horrendously long.
Oh, God, it felt like a 10-hour movie. It felt like all of the Lord of the Rings together.
Yeah.
Which is like a day worth of watching movies.
Right. So I did want to mention that the director of this movie was Tyler Spindell. Well, I don't want anybody freaking out. We all know how people like to attack me.
Blame Tyler? Not me?
Tyler Spindell. So in the Happy Madison world, there are multiple directors that do different films. And sadly, this director is not Tom Brady, although he is under the umbrella of Happy Madison films, not Tom Brady.
There is a Tom Brady, not the Tom Brady?
Yeah, he did 50 First Dates. And you said you liked 50 First Dates.
I actually found that more palatable of the recent Adam Sandler movies, given that the choices are not impressive at all.
So maybe it was your pull to Tom Brady that made that happen,
Probably. I
don't know. But this Tyler Spindell is actually connected to Massachusetts because he studied at Harvard.
Oh.
So, we got to do that where we can. But I did want to kind of just say maybe we should take a little bit easy on him because this is only his second mainstream film.
What was the first one?
The first one was also a Netflix Happy Madison film called Father of the Year. So I haven't seen it.
That's also David Spade, if I'm not mistaken.
It could be. I don't know. But so he is newer. I don't know much about him, but maybe we shouldn't crap all over somebody as they're starting out their career. Might be nice.
Yeah, but it's terrible.
Okay. But since you said it was terrible, this movie is a Twitter phenomenon. It got so much attention.
Is Twitter really that stupid?
So I kind of want to talk about that. So it was trending on Twitter. It was number 1 in the world on Netflix. It was number 1 in like Jamaica. It was like the top 10 most watched movies when I was like scrolling through Netflix. So it made a splash. And my question to you is, do you think that this movie would have made this big of a splash if we weren't in quarantine and had literally no other movies to watch.
No, it would have been any number of other terrible recent Adam Sandler movies that...
Well, the one that comes to mind most for me would be Murder Mystery, which came out, I think, like last month or the month before on Netflix. It was Jennifer Aniston, Adam Sandler movie. I actually wanted to see it, but I'm pretty sure nobody knew what it was. The only reason I even knew it existed was because the trailer was autoplaying when I watched Netflix. So, but that's kind of what I expected.
I mean, there's Pac-Man, there's Jack and Jill. Like, there's some really bad recent Happy Madison production films. So I think this would have faded into obscurity, which really would have been better for everyone involved.
So it's definitely a product of the time, and it's going to be one of those movies where people are going to look back and go, oh yeah, I watched that movie when I was stuck at home and there was literally nothing else to watch. It was terrible. It was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like that. So poor David Spade is going to go down as remembered as the worst movie that came out of quarantine.
Yeah.
So I feel kind of bad for him, and I hope that he can do something else, because otherwise, yikes.
He's been in a bunch of other cult classics, though, so he'll be fine.
I mean, sure, but this was bad. I mean, this was rough. But anyway, we're going to keep this to a shorter podcast, and I'm really proud of us for that, because there's literally nothing to talk about in this movie, so why go on and on?
The IMDb trivia page was 2 things.
4. You got to click on the spoiler section. Duh.
4 entries in the trivia section.
Yeah.
Half of them were useless.
Yeah, and I know that next week we're going to be going probably for an hour, because it's that kind of movie, so pre-prepared. But you do have a history minute, right?
Tyler's History Minute.
I have a few. Evander Holyfield is mentioned quite a bit in this movie.
Is that the one who they say she's the only one that's ever been able to get him on his back?
Yep.
Okay, great.
So he's a very well-known boxer.
Mm-hmm.
He was a multiple heavyweight championship level boxer for a number of years. He also had a championship in a couple other different weight classes as well, coming up through the systems, because he went from cruiser to light heavyweight to heavyweight through his career.
Mm-hmm.
Most people remember Evander Holyfield for fighting Mike Tyson and the bite fight, or the ear biting fight.
Okay.
Which happened in 1997, which was a rematch of the first fight in 1996, where Evander Holyfield won both.
Okay, interesting.
And he got bit twice on the ear in the same fight.
Poor guy.
Including having a piece of it bitten off.
Why is biting allowed?
It's not. That's how he won the second fight, because Mike Tyson was disqualified.
Gotcha.
So there's that. A recent history, because it was the 90s. Then Hawaii. This movie was filmed in Hawaii.
It was. Thank you.
In fact, it was.
Wow.
Hawaii became the 50th state in 1959. So after Pearl Harbor, after World War II.
Wow. So interesting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It just means that our grandparents remember a time before 50 states, which is so weird to think about.
That is weird to think about.
Yeah.
It's always been 50 to me.
So Hawaii was originally colonized and populated by Polynesians back somewhere in the 900s to 1130, somewhere in there. Most recent carbon dating puts it that time frame. And then they were left basically alone for the next 500 to 600 years, because it's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and no Western countries found it until England found it in 1778. So, yeah.
So, basically, if we ever do another Hawaii movie, you're SOL, is what I just heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the person who found it was Captain James Cook in 1778.
Does it count as finding it if it was already found and populated?
Well,
like,
that's
that's
the
such
question,
a confusing
because
thing.
Christopher Columbus gets all the credit for finding America when the Vikings had found it quite a bit beforehand.
I thought it was Amerigo Vespucci that gets credit.
No, it's Christopher Columbus gets credit even though the Vikings were here first.
Oh. Then who the heck is Amerigo Vespucci?
He's where America, the word comes from.
Oh, boy. Too much. I don't know. So let's hope we don't have another Hawaii movie because you're SOL now. Anyway, we do have some audience asks.
Audience asks.
All right.
Not much, so don't get excited. But
We just need 2.
I got 2. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Give me a second. So, the Contrarians said, "Can David Spade ever top Joe Dirt?" So, I just want to give a quick. My only memory of Joe Dirt is my brother was obsessed with this movie when we were younger. I doubt he would like me saying that out loud now, but he had the Joe Dirt hair. And so did all of my cousins and my uncle, and they all had that nickname thrown at them for my entire childhood. So
What, the mullet?
oh yeah, they all had it. Actually, both of my uncles had it to actually think about that. So yeah,
Never had a mullet. I'm proud to say that I've never in my life had a mullet.
well, I mean that is something.
That's a low bar, really.
It really is. All of my family basically. And my dad, no, I mean poor guy doesn't have hair, but.
Hopefully he doesn't listen. Sorry, Dennis.
But anyway, so I mean, can David Spade top Joe Dirt?
I think that's the movie that I remember him most for. And I don't think there's ever going to be a different movie that I think of first when I think of David Spade. I mean, he's overshadowed in the Tommy Boy Black Sheep with Chris Farley. But yeah, I think Joe Dirt is the pinnacle of David Spade.
Maybe David Spade is going to make a late life resurgence. He is 55. He's got plenty of time. He has some ways to go, and there are some people that bloom later in life. So let's give him hope that is not all he's remembered by.
But I think Joe Dirt is going to be the pinnacle.
Yeah?
Yeah, I
so
think
he's
so.
peaked?
Peaked, yeah.
Well, that's disappointing. Okay, so this one isn't really a question, but it's kind of a commentary that I wanted to talk about. So this person said, also, they broke the F-word-o-meter. I can say it, but I'm trying to see if we can avoid, the censoring that we get here. But happens a lot in these new Netflix rom-coms. I like the word, just not 8 times in a sentence for an entire movie. Did you find that in this movie? Because we've definitely covered movies where they literally made the list. So
yeah, I mean, there was Goodfellas is the first one I think of.
Right. I know there were multiple that we actually looked up the list to see where they fell. And
Wolf of Wall Street hit me with it because it was just over the top.
Right.
I didn't find this one that bad. I think that the only reason is because it was a short movie and it was already a shit movie.
Yeah.
So it was a garbage movie. So I didn't really. That was just kind of like throw it on the top of the pile.
Yeah.
What does it matter at this point? What does it fucking matter?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't necessarily think the swearing bothered me so much as it was just crude in every sense of the word. I mean, I do know They said, "Are you gonna fuckface me?" 10 times, and I guess that's supposed to mean envisioning someone else's head on the person's body who you're sleeping with. But you could have said that a different way. I mean, you don't have to say it.
Are you gonna fantasize when we do that, or
Right. I mean, there are other ways, to say things. So I felt like they said it to say it that way.
Oh, yeah.
And that kind of stuff.
Did. Well, that goes to her character being a horrible, irredeemable nightmare person.
Right. So, I mean, that kind of stuff did bug me a little bit, but I don't necessarily think that they said the word too much in comparison to movies that we have done where they've literally made the list of too many F words in a movie.
Right. I think that's entirely fair. I think this movie gets a pass just because it's so bad and you don't even notice.
Yeah. So I don't think I mentioned who asked that, but I try to make sure that I do that. And that was from Po Boys Podcast, which I think they're new to commenting to us. So that's kind of cool. But yeah. There was also just an honorable mention. Zach is Batman said The Wrong Missy was a funny movie to watch with a girlfriend. I loved it. Crazy Girls are the best. So
No, they're not. Do not stick it in crazy. That's an internet rule. That is an internet tried and true rule.
Don't stick it in crazy?
Don't stick your in crazy.
Okay, great. I'm glad that my husband knows that. That's good. So lovely. Okay.
I mean, we're married anyway, but
whoa. Wow. Okay. Yeah, all right, I'm sure you won't get crucified for that.
Oh, I'm going to get murdered for that one.
Yeah. So nice. I feel great. Yeah. So anyway.
Where do you want to go?
I think we need to rate this movie.
Reviews.
All right. So Rotten Tomatoes has it at 36.
Okay.
Audience score of 53, and those people are wrong. The comment is Lauren Lapkus lifts the Wrong Missy above abject failure. And
I mean,
while she did her job admirably, it just made it unbearable to watch for me.
Yeah, so she played the character she was given the best way that she could play the character she was given.
Well, right, but the people that are more at fault for me disliking this movie are the people that came up with the concept and wrote the script.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's just so in your face, just please end my suffering.
So what's your rating?
I'm going to give it a half a point above Big Trouble.
So you're basically basing life
on
Big
Trouble is the worst movie ever made of all time, bar none.
So what is that number? We don't know, right?
I don't
too
even
far
remember.
Back?
It's
so it's whatever Big Trouble was plus 0.5?
Plus a quarter of a point.
So you disliked Big Trouble more than this movie?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, God. The internet's coming. Okay. I was going to give it a 3. So I thought I was going to give it a 5, and then when I started thinking more and more about the whole not consensual sex thing, I started getting angry. So a 3. There are no likable women characters in this movie whatsoever. Every female in this movie is either a psychopath or just horrible overall person.
Molly Sims was moderately okay. Like
she's barely in it.
She's in the movie for 4 minutes and she's fine, but there's nothing memorable. There's nothing special.
Right. She's just a boring character. The people that are really in it would be the Barracuda, which is Adam Sandler's wife, and Lauren Lapkus, and they're both irredeemable characters.
Horrible people that.
Yeah. So there's that. There's the sex thing, and then it's just. I mean, it's a guy comedy, right? It's that kind of comedy where
don't you saddle us with that garbage.
It makes me think of like the slapstick dumb
It's a teenage
humor.
boy movie.
Yeah, that's what
it's not a man. It's a teenager movie. It's a stupid movie.
Yeah, and I mean David Spade, darling, honey baby boo boo, you are old enough that you can get out of that type of film. Like let's lift you up a little.
You've had enough acting jobs that you don't have to do anything else forever if you don't want to. Come on.
I mean this is low even for you. Let's just say that. Okay, so that's all I got on that. Do you want to give any closing remarks on that?
I mean, the only redeeming thing in this entire movie that I could pull out of this movie was it reminded me of my grandfather because she had the Bowie knife, and I was taught by my grandfather to always have a pocket knife handy.
I don't think you meant a Bowie knife.
No, not a Bowie knife, but to have a pocket knife on your person or in your car is a handy thing.
So I'll start carrying a Bowie knife. Let's see how that goes.
No.
Okay. I mean, you just said to always have one, so I mean.
A pocket knife. Pocket.
Sorry,
Fits
I
in your
heard
pocket.
Bowie, and then I don't know.
Pocket.
Okay.
Folding pocket knife.
Okay, got it. Mm-hmm.
It actually helped us get into the house when we locked ourselves out.
Yes, it did. Anyways, so next week's movie is your choice.
It is my choice. It's a movie I've actually seen. So it's going to be Catch Me If You Can. And it's Tom Hanks, Leo DiCaprio.
And why did you pick this movie?
Well, you've never seen it.
So that's the whole reason?
The real only primary reason, yeah. That's because you need to see this movie. It's also got Amy Adams.
I love Amy Adams.
So
adorbs. Okay, so anyway, if you guys want to talk to us outside the podcast, we are on Twitter. I am at CinematicallyC. Tyler is Blame Tyler CC. As I always say, if you want to talk to him, please tag me because he won't see it. You can email us at why did I say that? You can email us cinematicallycorrect@gmail.com. Sorry about that. You can find us really anywhere if you type in cinematically correct, but those are your best options. And that's
Twitter's your best bet by far. It's not even close.
Yeah, so that's all I got. So thank you to Jake at Office Music for intro and outro music, and we'll be back next week with Catch Me If You Can.
Thank you for listening.